Welcome to the Hollow Pines Hotel, a place where time stood still and shadows lingered longer than they should. It was once a bustling haven for travelers, but had fallen into disrepair, abandoned after a string of mysterious disappearances. Locals whispered about the hotel's infamous Room 616, a place no one dared enter. Erin was an urban explorer, always chasing the thrill of the unknown. When she heard of the Hollow Pines Hotel, she knew it was the perfect challenge. Armed with a camera, a flashlight, and an insatiable curiosity, she pushed open the heavy, dust-covered doors. The lobby was a snapshot of forgotten grandeur, its chandelier swaying slightly despite the still air. The faded carpet muffled her footsteps as she made her way to the stairwell. The number 616 was etched in her mind, a beacon she couldn't resist. The house was established for a legend, its past 1600 for a lifetime viewer. Each step creaked under her weight as she ascended to the 6th floor. The hallway was suffocatingly narrow, lined with peeling wallpaper and broken light fixtures. Her flashlight cast long shadows that danced with every movement. Finally, she stood before the door. The brass numbers gleamed unnaturally, as if freshly polished. In the doorway, a man stood taller than she was, his clothes closer to match hers, and his hair the color of mold. She hesitated, but reminded herself this was just another room, another story to uncover. The doorknob was icy to the touch. With a deep breath, she turned it and stepped inside. The room was pristine, untouched by time. A 4-postered bed stood against the far wall, its velvet canopy unblemished. A large mirror hung above an ornate dresser, its surface strangely clean in contrast to the dust coating everything else. As she moved deeper into the room, the door slammed shut behind her, making her jump. The temperature plummeted, her breath visible in the dim light. Suddenly, the mirror's reflection shifted. Instead of her own, she saw a man staring back at her, a man with hollow eyes and a twisted grin. "Anger is a woman's medicine," she murmured, her breath hissing in her ear at how welcome the figure said, though his lips didn't move. Erin spun around, but the room was empty. The reflection, however, remained. The man's grin widened as he stepped forward, through the glass, and into the room. Panic surged through Erin as she backed away. The walls began to close in, the room shrinking and warping. The figure advanced, his hollow eyes locking onto hers. Her eyes. "You shouldn't have come," he whispered, his voice echoing unnaturally. Erin screamed and bolted for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The man was upon her now, his cold, skeletal hand gripping her wrist. His touch burned like ice, and the whispers began. Low, guttural, and unrelenting, as though the walls themselves were alive. "Let me go!" Erin shouted, pulling with all her strength, but it was futile. The figure's grip tightened, and the room began to dissolve. The walls melted into darkness, leaving her standing in an infinite void. In the distance, faint shapes materialized, faces pale and contorted in anguish, hovering in the shadows. They mouthed silent screams, their hollow eyes fixated on her. Erin's flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into complete darkness. "Erin," she whispered. The figure's grin widened as he leaned in closer, his breath cold against her cheek. "You wanted a story, didn't you? Now you're part of it." Suddenly, the void erupted with light. Erin found herself standing in the hotel lobby again, gasping for air. The chandelier was still swaying, and everything looked exactly as it had when she entered. Erin stared. Had it been a hallucination? A dream? She touched her wrist where the figure had grabbed her, and her heart sank. There, etched into her skin, were faint, icy handprints. Aha! Panicking, she sprinted for the exit, but as she reached the door, she froze. The lobby mirror caught her reflection. Or what she thought was her reflection. Her face stared back, but behind her stood the man, grinning, his hollow eyes glowing in the dim light. Erin fled into the night, but no matter where she went, she couldn't escape him. The shadow of room 616 followed her, whispering, waiting for the moment it would pull her back into its endless void.